To the top stories. Cabinet held discussions with representatives of taxi associations. Vaccines to be replenished in Antigua and Barbuda. And British MP dies after being stabbed Friday morning. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Friday, October 15th, 2021. I'm your presenter, Shanique Harvey. Nationally, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis has reassured taxi and tour operators that much is being done in the safest possible way to bring visitors back to the Federation's shores, which will in turn generate increased business opportunities and revenues for all employed within the tourism sector. This assurance was given on Thursday when members of the federal cabinet, led by Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, met with representatives of the three taxi associations on St. Kitts to address a range of concerns taxi and tour operators have pertaining to the state of the sector since the return of cruise vessels to Port Zante. The St. Kitts Taxi Association was represented by its president Tyrone Richardson, the Liamiga Taxi Association by its president David Brandy, while Sylvester Hodge represented the St. Kitts Taxi Cooperative in his capacity as president. Among the issues raised during the deliberations were opportunities for small taxi and tour operators, the bubble arrangement in place at Port Zante on days when cruise vessels are in port, and challenges with the current dispensation system for taxi operators. Prime Minister Harris indicated to the representatives at Thursday's meeting that his government is sensitive to the concerns of the taxi operators and continues to explore every possible measure to ensure taxi and tour operators can successfully ply their trade to earn a decent living. In the final day of bilateral meetings in the margins of the 60th anniversary of the Non-Aligned Movement Summit, Honorable Mark Brantley, Minister of Foreign Affairs of St. Kitts and Nevis, held bilateral talks with his Serbian counterpart, His Excellency Nikola Selakovic. During the meeting, Foreign Minister Brantley conveyed his appreciation to the government of Serbia for facilitating St. Kitts and Nevis's full participation in this year's historic summit. The ministers also discussed scholarships, opportunities in vocational training, and closer cooperation between the two countries. St. Kitts and Nevis and Serbia formally established diplomatic relations in November 2018. This year, it successfully co-hosted the 60th anniversary of the Non-Aligned Movement Summit, where over 100 countries participated. Medical Chief of Staff at the Joseph N. France General Hospital and Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Cameron Wilkinson indicated during Wednesday's NEOC press briefing that discussions are ongoing as to the layout of this year's Carnival celebrations, given the successful vaccination rollout program.
The task force, we were actively engaged in discussions with plans for Carnival. Last year, December, there was a virtual carnival where there was no in-person events. And at that time, we had 0 persons who were vaccinated and we had a virtual event. And so we believe that the minimum we can have is a virtual event, and with the significant vaccination coverage that we have, there is latitude for discussion to see how we can have other events, and I'm pretty certain that you'll be hearing more about this. And so keep your
Carnival celebrations and events draw large crowds, and given the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, certain restrictions may be applied. Most recently, the successful hosting of the Hero CPL T20 tournament, where only vaccinated patrons were allowed entry, may be an applied model for Carnival. Dr. Wilkinson outlined the importance of vaccination in the fight against the virus.
There is no barrier to you getting the vaccination. You can walk into any clinic 7 days a week during the scheduled clinic hours and get vaccinated. And so it's important for you to take advantage of this. The vaccines also, we know they have a high efficacy. The AstraZeneca, it's about 84.3, the Pfizer about 95. And so it's important for you to make sure that you take this protective cloak and cover yourself.
The medical chief of staff further stated that vaccination is also important to protecting and maintain a functioning and efficient healthcare system, since in some countries healthcare systems have been crippled due to a large number of COVID-19 cases. Regionally, the Antigua and Barbuda government has assured stocks of Oxford AstraZeneca and Pfizer vaccines will be replenished in the shortest possible time. ABS's Shanikisha Francis has that update.
The government has assured it is doing everything to ensure sufficient supplies of COVID-19 vaccines. Minister for Information, Honorable Melford Nicholas, says more Pfizer-BioNTech and the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccines are on the way. Minister Nicholas says 1,000 Pfizer vaccine doses were due to have arrived on Thursday.
Taking into full consideration that we have had a run on the Pfizer vaccines, we are expecting an additional batch from our friendly neighborhood government, Dominica, the Commonwealth of Dominica, during the course of today.
The minister says more doses will be arriving on island in upcoming weeks.
We have a stock of vaccines that will come from PAHO. We also are anticipating some vaccines from the government of Grenada with the able assistance of the Canadian government. And the US government has already committed to give us another stock of vaccines. We have already knocked on the doors and asked them to accelerate that supply.
Minister Nicholas assures first doses of the Pfizer vaccines will begin to be administered once again as soon as more supplies arrive.
There has been a hiatus in terms of the issuance of first dose Pfizer vaccines. But we are satisfied within the coming days and weeks we should have sufficient vaccines to restart the process.
The single-dose Johnson & Johnson, Sinopharm, and the Sputnik V vaccines are still in stock, and the general public is being encouraged to avail themselves of the vaccines which are available. Shanikisha Francis, ABS.
And finally, in regional news, as part of activities for Financial Information Month, or FIM, the Bankers Association of St. Lucia made a generous visit to the Missionaries of Charity. The organization, which also consists of the Mother Teresa Home, is the first to receive support from the Bankers Association since the launch of FIM this year. More in this report.
The Missionaries of Charity is an international Catholic religious congregation who has vowed to give wholehearted free service to the poor in the community. The local branch of the order has been attending to the less fortunate and the elderly in the Foreshore community for approximately 25 years through the Mother Teresa's Home. Today, the organization is the first recipient of a donation of essential food items from the Bankers Association of St. Lucia.
It is always a humbling experience when we visit the less fortunate among us. It reminds us how fragile life can be and how much we take for granted. It has become something of a staple during Financial Information Month, where we reach out to the less fortunate among us to show some love, if you may, to those among us, our brothers and sisters who may not have as much as we do.
According to the chairperson of the Activities Committee, Vernelle Joseph, the plan for the association is to make this charity drive an annual event for Financial Information Month.
It's another year, Financial Information Month 2021, and it's about giving back. As part of our corporate social responsibility, we are giving to the Missionaries of Charity here at Foreshore, and we believe in assisting, we believe in helping out. There are a few ladies here who needed our assistance, and it is part of our culture to give back to society.
One of the members of the congregation, Sister Creeper, thanked the association for respecting what they do and providing them with the much needed supplies to do it.
We have now 10 of them, and more or less there are like one lady is 99, two of them, one is 97. So there also they feel at home with us, because that way we take care of them. They really feel at home.
Officials from the collective group of financial institutions say that a visit to 3 more homes are on the list of activities for the remainder of October. Reporting from the Government Information Service, Ross Daniel.
Internationally, Sir David Amess, a British Member of Parliament, has died after a stabbing incident on Friday morning at a constituency surgery. Essex police said a man has been arrested and a knife recovered. BBC's Peter Saul reports.
Well, it's a desperately sad day for our democracy, isn't it? Because, you know, by murdering one of our elected representatives, you are attacking our democracy. It cannot be the case that our elected representatives live in fear of doing the most basic part of their job, of meeting their constituents, to hear their concerns, to take those concerns to the powers that be here in Westminster. These are constituency surgeries that will have been happening up and down the country today. And Sir David Amess has turned up at a church in Leigh-on-Sea. He will have spoken to some of those people that he represents, and he has been stabbed to death, we are hearing. It is clearly a horrific incident, and what we've got today is a parliament, our political parties united in shock and in condemnation of what we have heard happen today in Essex. A tweet here from the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, shocked to hear of the attack on Sir David Amess, praying for him, his loved ones and his staff. Our elected representatives must be able to live and work without fear of violence or intimidation if we are to maintain our democracy. And Sir David Amess is a very, very popular figure in Parliament. Lots of people from all political persuasions describing him not only as a colleague but as a friend. So this loss will be extremely keenly felt in the world of politics.
A mob lynched a military police officer after he killed a 5-year-old girl when he fired on a car at a checkpoint in the capital of Cameroon's English-speaking southwest region, the Defense Ministry said. More in this Reuters report.
A mob in Cameroon has lynched a military police officer after he shot a 5-year-old girl dead earlier this week. That's according to the country's defense ministry on Thursday. The girl's death sparked major demonstrations across Boué, the capital of Cameroon's English-speaking southwest region. Protesters there on Thursday marched the girl's body to the regional governor's office, who attempted to calm the crowds and promised swift action. In a statement, the defense ministry said she was shot in a car after the driver refused to stop at a checkpoint, prompting the military officer to open fire in an attempt to immobilize the vehicle. A crowd then killed the officer, the ministry said, adding that an investigation has been opened into the two deaths. Several residents have said the girl's death reflects a larger pattern of heavily militarized security forces harassing local residents. Secessionist fighters there have been battling government troops for nearly 5 years, fueled by a perception of marginalization by the country's French-speaking majority. Over 3,000 people have been killed and nearly 1 million displaced, with both sides accused of committing atrocities.
And now for the weather. Present weather is cloudy with dust haze and volcanic gas. Winds are a light breeze of 4 miles per hour from the south-southwest. Seas are 1.2 meters or 4 feet. Weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis today will be cloudy this afternoon with a 60% or a moderate chance of localized showers. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a 40% or a moderate chance of showers, becoming clearer overnight. Sunset today will be at 5:49 p.m. and sunrise tomorrow at 6:04 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your presenter, Shanique Harvey.